Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of the day it is for you. My name is Eva Marie Everson. I'm the president of Word Weavers International and the director of Florida Christian Writers Conference. Once again, you may notice that my favorite sidekick, Taryn Suiters, is not here with us today. Taryn is volunteering at the thrift store. She volunteers every Wednesday. It is a thrift store with a ministry. And I was just sharing with my dear friend, Ava Pennington, who's sitting next to me, that if I were to volunteer at the thrift store, my job would be just to shop, because I do love shopping at thrift stores. But excuse me, good on Taryn, because she's a wife and the mother of three, and very active, and yet she gives us one day every week to a ministry. So we just love her. But this is my good friend, Ava Pennington. We have known each other for a lot of years.
Okay.
We've walked through some pretty dark days together. This wonderful woman listened to me sob when my brother was dying. She had just gone through this with her husband, cancer being such a cruel beast, but we don't want to concentrate on that right now. What I want to share with you is, number one of the reasons why we love to have Ava as the Devo or devotional or devotion teacher at Florida Christian Writers Conference is because she's just so good at what she does. But look at this. This is a beautiful gift book, Reflections on the Names of God. I don't know if it's backwards or not. Sometimes it comes out that way. But Ava was just telling me this is the fourth edition of this book, and it's absolutely gorgeous on the inside. I ran to get it. It's right next to my reading chair because I love studying the names of God, but I also love the way Ava writes about the names of God. So thank you, Ava, for joining us today. Would you please tell us a little bit about the 8-hour continuing class that you teach at Florida Christian Writers Conference?
Sure. Thank you for having me. And I am so looking forward to the Florida Christian Writers Conference. It's actually where I met the acquisitions editor for that devotional.
Oh, about it.
Vicki was at the acquisitions editor for Revell, and she was at Florida Christian Writers Conference. So this conference has a very special place in my heart. I am teaching the continuing track on writing devotions, writing and publishing devotions. And I want to say that writing devotions is for everyone.
Absolutely.
And you might be thinking, why do I want to bother writing devotions when I can focus on writing my book, whether it's fiction or nonfiction, or even writing articles? I can do so many other things. Why would I want to write devotions? But writing devotions is, it's an opportunity to cultivate and develop your own relationship with God. It gives you the chance to combine introspective skills with observations about life. It gives you the opportunity to hone your ability to recognize God's word at work around you. And it encourages you before you even encourage someone else. It also enables you to hone your writing skills. You learn to write tight. You learn to make each word count. And that's important, whether you're writing a 50,000 word Christian living book or a 90,000 word novel. Every word needs to count, and you can hone that skill in writing devotions. You learn to meet submission deadlines, you build writing credits. And before I get into what we're going to cover, I want to talk about one more thing. We've come through a really difficult time. And even without the pandemic, sometimes life hits hard. It just does. I mean, Eva talked about our mutual times of loss, and everybody's, if you're not going through something now, you will go through something, or you may have just come out of going through something. That's just life.
Yes.
And there are times when your writing window is going to be small, or you don't have the energy to write, and you think, I can't focus on writing a book right now. I don't have the time, or I don't have the emotional or mental energy to do that. But you still have a desire to write, right? God has called you to write. He's given you this gift of words and this love of words and the desire to communicate truth. And so you can still process what you're experiencing. You can deepen your relationship with God in the midst of that experience by writing a devotion.
Yes.
And it's one that might not only speak to your own spirit, but will be able to speak to others who can relate to what you are going through.
Mhm.
And by the way, I mentioned fiction. This includes fiction writers too.
Oh, yes.
Because you will have the opportunity in writing devotions to hone your skill of weaving spiritual truth into writing without being preachy.
That's right.
And isn't that what we need to do even
That's
as
right.
novelists, right? We
Yes.
want to have a biblical worldview. We want to have this basis of spiritual truth, even if you're not quoting a Bible verse, but you don't want to be preachy. And by the way, you can't be preachy in devotions either.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I'm a firm believer in the benefits of writing devotions, not just to the reader, but to you as the writer. So that was a very long-winded introduction, Eva, to
what are you going to cover? What is some of the, and one of the things I'd love for you to answer, because we get this question a lot. What is the difference in a devotion and a devotional? And it's a real simple answer, but it is a common question that we get.
It is. And I actually hear devotional writers make the mistake of using the wrong word. So a devotion is a short piece. It's a single piece with a single major thought. A devotional is a collection of devotions.
Yes. So this is a devotional.
That's a devotional, and it's filled with
that's the devotions.
Okay. So we are, and I want you to, as you listen to what we're going to cover, I want you to consider that almost all of this applies to your writing as a novelist or as a nonfiction writer, because the first session, we're going to talk about strategy, planning, preparation, passion. We're going to answer the 3 questions that every writer needs to answer, no matter what you're writing. We're going to look at theme, structure, style, benefits, and types of devotions. That's all going to be in the first session. And the application, I promise you, the application is going to cut across any kind of writing. The second session, we're going to look at actual content. We're going to look at tools and tips. We're going to look at a structure of what a devotion is, a beginning, a middle, and an end. And by the way, doesn't that sound familiar, right?
Oh, yes,
if you're writing a book, you have to have a strong beginning, middle, and end.
Yes.
We're going to go through lists of do's and don'ts and bonus tips that I have learned over the years. The third session, we're going to focus strictly on self-editing. So we're going to talk about writing type and weasel words and Christianese and cliches. And again, this is going to be whatever you're writing, you're going to be able to use this. So I'm applying it to devotions, but you're going to be able to use this whatever God has called you to write. And then the fourth session, we are going to focus on submitting and selling your devotions. We're going to look at queries and proposals. And again, I know I'm sounding repetitive, but you're going to be able to apply this. So I kind of like to think of this continuing track as a microcosm of the entire conference, because there's so much of this that you'll be able to apply elsewhere. And by the way, all through this, we're going to have hands-on application during every session. So you're going to have we're going to critique devotions. You're going to have an opportunity to create a devotion through this track. And you're going to be able to learn skills that you will be able to apply whatever God has called you to write. Yes. You can tell I'm really passionate about this. I am excited about this. Poor Eva, you were next door to one of my classes in one of the conferences, and you kind of heard me get excited as I talk about these things.
Yes. So, well, I think at one time the office was right next to, when we were in the Raintree building, it was right next to yours. But the thing is that I also then got to see the conferees who were participating in your class walking out, and that look of, oh my God, this was fabulous, and how many people have come up to us and said, this is just one of the best classes. And you said this. I mean, I'm predominantly a fiction writer. I have written some nonfiction works, but in my earliest days, I cut my teeth on writing devotions for a devotional website. And I did this for like, I don't know, a year or so. I had to do 6 a month. And that sounds like a lot, but to do it and to do it well, it's not as easy as you think, because you're thinking, oh, it's just like what, 350 to 500 words. Oh, anybody can do that. No. When you're talking about writing tight and you're talking about staying on that central theme, there is an art to this. And there's also a method to the madness, and that is what you're all about.
And it's not just writing tight and staying on the central theme. I mean, those are the principles that you have to follow. But you also want to write well. You want your writing infused with emotion and to be able to relate to the reader. Mm-hmm. And if you can develop those skills in short pieces, whatever God calls you to write, whether it's a novel or nonfiction or a Bible study or Christian living, whatever it is, you're going to carry those skills into those other projects.
Yes, absolutely.
And so I really see this as devotional, as foundational to all the writing God's going to call you to do.
Absolutely, 100%. Okay, Ava, are you ready for our FCWC lightning round?
I hope so.
Okay,
not sure.
Here we go. We're going to get to know a little bit more about Ava Pennington. Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Tea or coffee?
Tea.
Okay. Coke or Pepsi?
Coke.
Morning or evening?
Oh, definitely evenings. I'm not a morning person.
Some people find that very easy to answer. Mountains or beach?
I live near the beach, but I think mountains.
Okay. All right. Your favorite holiday?
Okay, this is going to sound very trite, but Christmas. I'm a Christmas file. I put up the tree in November. I'm one of those. I know, don't cringe, but my tree goes up before Thanksgiving. So
okay, yeah, you are ready. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Well, like for me, it takes almost a week because I decorate the whole house. So I'm like, I want to get the most out of it that I possibly can. Yeah. But there's something absolutely lovely about it. Was my mother's favorite holiday. It's my favorite holiday. I understand. Okay, so you're having dinner with a famous person, dead or alive, and it's not Jesus.
Wow. Okay. This one's hard. There's so many people. I mean, there's biblical characters that I would love to sit with. But so not Jesus, and we'll step away from the Bible for a minute and say I'm thinking of people like Kay Arthur, who I love. And by the way, she endorsed that devotional that I wrote. So Kay is somebody I'd love to just sit and have dinner with. Somebody who's not living would be somebody like Elizabeth Elliot. I would just love to, or somebody like C.S. Lewis. You can tell I tend to gravitate towards nonfiction writers.
Oh, wouldn't that be lovely to have dinner with C.S. Lewis in Belfast, his home, his original home. Wouldn't that just be absolutely tea? We'll just have tea.
Yes.
I will have tea.
Maybe that's why I gravitate to tea.
All right. Final question. If you knew tonight's meal was going to be your last, what would it include?
Okay. So one of my favorite restaurants in town is a little, it's just a little place that is a tea room. And whenever I go there, there are certain things that I order all the time. And one is her lobster bisque soup. So I would start with lobster bisque soup. Mm-hmm. Now she doesn't offer the entree, but I would add to that lobster tails. That would be, drenched in clarified butter.
Here.
And for dessert, creme brulee.
Oh, yes. This is why you and I get along so well. Well, thank you, Ava, for joining us this morning or this afternoon or this evening, whatever time of the day it is for our viewers. If you have not signed up for Florida Christian Writers Conference and you've really been thinking about coming, let me just tell you that we are running out of rooms. Now, we do have a plan B, but if your hope is to stay on campus at the conference, during the conference, you are going to want to sign up sooner rather than later. We have been incredibly blessed and surprised by the response so early on this year. But I think it's because we have people like Ava Pennington coming to the conference. Our keynote speaker this year is Stephen James. And if you want to know more about the conference as a whole, you can go to word-weavers.com/Florida events. And that's all spelled out, FLORIDA events. Or just simply type in word-weavers.com and you will see the button that you need to push to find out more about the Florida Christian Writers Conference. So we thank you for joining us today. Thank you again, Ava, for joining us, and we hope to see you in October. Bye for now.
Bye.